Hi, today we're going to enlarge. We're going to learn how to enlarge something. And this is a little tricky because you have to be good in math to do this. Did you know that artists have to use math sometimes? I'm not very good at math and I never have been, so I'm trying this. You may need to get your mom and dad to help you with this, but what we're doing is we're taking something really little, like a small cartoon, and cutting out one little something out of the newspaper. It doesn't have to be a cartoon. It could be anything in the newspaper that's small. And we're going to enlarge it to this big shape that I have drawn on my paper. And I measured this cartoon. This cartoon is 1.5, pretty close to 1.5 inches, and it's square. So that means we know that it's 1.5 inches across and 1.5 inches down. Now, in order to enlarge it, make it larger, we have to multiply 1.5 times something. And I measured my paper. My paper is like 9 by 11 or 8 by 11. So I figured if I multiply it 5 times, I'm going to have it 5 times bigger. So I multiplied 1 3/4, which is what this is. 1 3/4, I think. Did I say 1.5? Anyway, yeah. I did 1 3/4 times 5. I'm going to blow it up 5 times bigger. And I got, when I multiplied this, I got 5 15/4, which equals 8 3/4. So I went ahead and made my square 8 3/4. That's 5 times bigger than this. Maybe, I think. So then I went ahead and marked off some squares on this one, and I made my squares 2 inches on this one. So right here I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, and a little bit left over. So I'm going to put my squares here on this paper so that I have got some squares to look at. And I'm going to do the same down the side. I'm going to go 2 inches. This is a square, so we're going to do the same thing on the side. And we're going to mark it here, 2, 4, 6, 8. And we're going to come across and draw the lines. Now, if you want to draw your lines really lightly, that's great because you might want to erase them when you finish. So it's hard to erase a dark line. I've got a little bit left over down here too. Looks like this line was a little bit crooked. And it's still crooked. But you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just learning a concept here. I put a grid on the cartoon. I don't know if you can see it, but I did like just, I think it was 3/8. 1, 2, 3. 3/8 squares. I marked my cartoon in squares that were 3/8. And so I've got some squares here. So what you do is you start in square number 1. You can even put the number in these squares. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5, or a little bit extra. And then come down to this square. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. And so what you can do is take your ruler and just kind of get rid of that second line so that you are just looking at the first 4 boxes. And then you start in the top one and you draw what you see. Then I'm going to my second one here. Here I'm seeing this, and then I see this, and then I see this. Okay, this one, 1, 2, 3. This one actually is coming over. It's hard to enlarge. All right, so I'm going to get this one bigger. This one is coming across the line right here. I see a line right there, and that's this line. So I'm coming across here, and then I'm doing this. This comes over pretty far, maybe a little further than what I've got. And then this comes up here. And that's what I see when I look at the top row. When I go down to the second row, I see a line. I can't see it that way. Let me move it over. All right, so I'm seeing a shape in here. And the shape goes up and across this into this square over here. There's a little backwards C looking thing here. There's a lot of lines in here that kind of go up into these lines. And I see this actually is bigger. It's down here. You got to look real carefully because this is a really little square. This line comes down and then across to the next square. And then coming back up to this one, I see a line that goes down. And this comes across here. This comes across here. Actually, it should come over a little bit further, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then this comes down into this square with a circle. Now, come down to the next square. I'm just going to do one more row for you, and then I'm going to let you do this by yourself. You can get any little picture that you want. Cartoons are fun. Just because they are easy and you can see the line pretty easily. Come all the way over here to this line. Keep looking at your squares. Where is everything in relation to the squares? It's hard to make something bigger when it's so little. And so this is an interesting way. Even when we start painting, I'm going to suggest that you do some enlarging. And especially if you're working on a really big canvas, you are going to have to enlarge. Sometimes you can just think about it and do it just by looking. But other times, sometimes you may want to put a grid on your canvas when you start painting. Here's an, I think, an eye here. That's a little mouth in here. And then he's got goggles up here and here. And his little neck comes down into the next square. And then over here, the ear is right there. So look at your lines. It's easy to try to just start thinking, okay, where should it be? But you have to look closely. There's a funny looking thing up here. I don't even know what that is, but it's just kind of, I think Charlie Brown is confused. I'm not sure what's going on even in the cartoon, but his eyes look a little goofy. and his mouth is a little crooked and his tongue is hanging out. So he does look like that he maybe got booted by Snoopy. I'm not sure. But you see how I'm looking, and in each square, and I'm drawing what I see. I'm making it bigger, but the squares help you to see how proportionally you need to make it bigger. And so try this. Get something little, draw the squares on it, and then figure out the ratio of how much bigger you want to make it. Multiply your numbers and make it maybe 4 times bigger or 5 times bigger or even 3 times bigger, and try this. This is a great exercise for eye-hand coordination and learning how to enlarge. See you next time.